Right, welcome to the show, guys. Welcome back. Let me just see how the live chat and everything's working, if everything actually is working. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me just check. I'm just waiting for everyone to join in. By that time, we could see if everything's working. Yes, it is working. I see Jubair here. Awesome. So let's see what's going on. Actually, also, I'm going to share the link to everyone else as well, because there are some people out there who have no idea what's going on. Give me a second. So I'm huffing and puffing a little bit. Literally just come home. Busy day. Right. So, just like last week, we're literally still currently in the middle of nowhere. And that's what we want to talk about today, right? Nothing too much, just that we're still currently in the middle of absolutely nowhere. We need to understand what all of this means for us, because a lot of people out there, like they've been FOMOing in, a lot of people kind of falling for the hypes and everything, and it's sad, but the reality is they get wiped out. People try and do trades and whatnot. I see Bubble here. Awesome, my brother. Nice to see you. KR's here. Awesome. So the situation that happens is a lot of people fall for this. And I've kind of constantly mentioned this as well. I did a Discord message the other day and I said, look, guys, yes, the market looks super solid. It looks like it wants to create a situation where it wants to stabilize itself. Absolutely fine, right? So stabilization is not the issue here. The issue that I saw was it's too soon, too early, if that makes sense, right? And I'm just going to take you into the chart so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So when we say it's too soon, what I'm talking about is this specific area here, right? This particular zone here. We've come and we've tested this area. You can see we've come and tested this area, but if you look carefully, we're in the middle of absolutely nowhere. So we are trying to create some sort of a, what would you call this? A support zone. Sorry, my mind is kind of messed up because I'm kind of really tired, but I'm doing my best. So hang with me. I'm going to pull through. So that's the situation here. Basically, you've got the market itself has gone through. It smashed through that 19,933 or something, smashed through, which was actually the previous high. And this is why it concerned me, because this was a fairly good enough support zone for us, because we had touched it here and we also touched it here, and it broke through that. It went below to the no man's zone. Of course, we had a lovely little candle that pushed us back up, but it wasn't big enough. It wasn't powerful enough to tell us that, okay, we're going to shoot to the moon. So because of that, we want to stay calm. And I kind of mentioned this on the last stream as well. I said, guys, if BTC gives me a confirmation, and if BTC shows me signs that it wants to move back up and it's now 50K coin, it's still worth buying at 50K and actually buying right now with the uncertainty in the market, because it's really tough. You got to understand, I mean, you got to be really willing to lose money. If you are, then you would dive in, do whatever. Of course, DCA is a different story. So anyone who's doing DCA, you are absolutely fine. I want to take the drawings off for a second just to show you something as well. So you see these zones here, this particular zone here, this is the VPVR. I see Himi here. Also, my brother, nice to see you. Himi, I saw you sent me a message earlier on in Discord. Sorry, I couldn't reply back, bro. And I know you said something about me being right. It's not about being right. It's not about being wrong. It's about just being logical. That's the most important thing. I'm trying to be as logical as possible. I'm trying to say, look, yes, everything looks brilliant. Yes, we cannot deny what the chart is showing us, because all the bullish news, bearish news, any candles we see on a daily, weekly, whatever we see, all of these are indicators on the actual chart. That is undeniable. We can see that, right? But what we can also see is that there's a greater pattern on the larger time frames, and we can't deny that too. So when we start looking though at those patterns, we're like, okay, there is absolutely enough opportunities out there for us to move up. So for example, I'll give you a good one. This is a really good one. All right, I'm going to start off with the opportunity for us to move up. So this is a really great opportunity, you can see, and ignore the VPVR for now. We're going to talk about that later. But if you look carefully, you'll notice how we've been bearish, like 3 months straight bearish. we could easily get a green candle. We could absolutely get a green candle, and there is absolutely no harm. And let me just switch the, let me switch the heat map off. And you can see what I'm talking about. So yes, we can get a lovely little green candle here. Absolutely no harm. But does that mean we're bullish again? Absolutely not. Because if you look carefully, the first time we broke this average, right? This is a 21-month average. The first time we broke this average was down here, and we came down. Now we've got to come back here to test it. So remember, what goes down must go up, and what was once a support is now a resistance on the upside, you know, and what was once a support on the downside is also a resistance in a particular way. So just always got to be really, really logical. So we know that we've had 3 candles. We could easily see a green candle form next month, because remember, the monthly candle closes in approximately 3 days, 6 hours. 3 days, 6 hours. And we'll talk about the 3 days, 6 hours in a bit as well. But that's what's happening. So we are going to see this close. It's going to close bearish. There is no ifs and buts. You can push it all the way up to 24, 25K. What is this? 30K, even 30K. We still are not going to make this a bullish candle. Let's just put it this way, right? This is a very powerful data that we're looking at, right? Larger time frames. Of course, we can start coming down a little bit, and we can start looking at the 2-weekly average, and you can see the same thing here. This is a 2-weekly average. Pretty much the same thing. When you start looking at the weekly, you can start seeing very much the same thing. So this means that yes, we could easily have a green candle. The next one could be a green candle, but it doesn't make any difference to us. Now, if we look at the VPVR, that kind of gives us an indication is what we are actually expecting. So if you look at the VPVR, you can see the biggest amount of traffic that we had, the most amount of volume, the most amount of people, you know, getting excited, trading, even bearish, even shorting the market, longing the market, whatever. The most amount of traffic, that's what we're going to call this, happened around this particular zone. And we currently had a cross here. You can see we had a cross here, and we're coming down. Now that we're coming down, we've come to these particular areas where this one particularly, we're building. So we are building some support zones here. We're building some data here, but this is nothing compared to this one, for example, or almost close to this, but nothing compared to this or this. So you can see there's a range here where on the top we have this area here, which is the currently sitting at 42,000. Okay, is it 42? No, sorry, $32,000. And then on the bottom here, we've got this $11,000. So we've got this massive range here where we can see the volume does want to play around here. The volume did play around here, right? Or even did play around here, but here, not as much. We're currently building this up. Of course, if this then starts shooting this way, we know that we've got the volume here for us to start giving us a support and a confirmation, you know? So when we talk about confirmation, let's move into that as well. We talk about how one candle has to confirm the other. So for example, this was a bearish candle. This confirmed it's a bearish candle. This became a bullish candle, but it by you know, a thread, like it just literally just by a thread. It's right in the center. You can see the wick here. You can see the wick here on the center. This is an undecided candle. It's not a bullish, it's not a bearish confirmation. So right now we've had the first ever undecided candle. Then of course we open up the market. We've still got another undecided candle. So these are 2 undecided candles, a very dangerous place to be in. They are telling us that we could either go up, we could either go down, right? So you have to really, really understand this as well. So let me read the chat a little bit, and then we'll talk about the stochastic RSI and RSI as well. Logical, I like it. Kaya, can you talk about the candle weekly close, first time ever under 200 weekly, not done before? What can it mean, bro? Should we be concerned? Be concerned that you don't have enough money to buy the bottom. What does it mean? Of course, listen, Kaya, if you observe the videos, my brother, if you looked at the videos, you'd probably notice my 200 day, 200 week or whatever has been active in the past. Right now, I'm not using it. Currently, I'm using the 100 and the 21. But if you want to see the 100 and thing, we can use that as well. That's not an issue. I'll show you that in a bit, right? So I'm using somebody else's indicator, which is absolutely fine, and I'll show you. So his indicator actually does have the 50 and the 200. And all of this, it does not matter. You know, people talk about how this has come down. It doesn't matter. What matters more is where are we right now? And it's not the first time. And a lot of people like to say it's the first time we've done this. Was the first. No, it's not the first time, guys. Come on, 1 time, 2 time. You know, we've had it plenty of times before. Look, many times before where we've come down, wicked down. Yes, we closed the body below. So what? You know, we're not going to be the same as we were in 50s. The same cars that were driven 20 years ago are not driven now. The same cars that were driven 13 years ago are not driven now. Let's talk about it this way. Technology moves forward, so do people. We were only trading with like 1% of the planet, or 0.5% of the planet was only trading crypto once upon a time. And there was only like, 10, 15 cryptocurrencies. We're talking about 20,000 cryptocurrencies right now. So look at the differences. Use that variable as well. So what if it comes down? It doesn't matter. There's a greater movement going on right now. What you have to understand is the last cryptocurrency market, right? The first ever cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, when it was released after a recession. Okay, it was released after a particular situation, a massive financial collapse. So Bitcoin has never actually even seen this before. It kind of seen a little bit of a taste, but it wasn't big enough to be impacted, if that makes sense to you. But this is the first time where we are seeing that it's big. It went to $2 trillion, close to almost $3 trillion market cap by all of the coins. When you start looking at those data, there's a lot of changes we've had here. There's a lot of changes. So all of these data, we may have to even change all the models. Like, for example, I use the logarithmic chart, and you can see how the logarithmic chart, how we collapse completely below this, how we way below this. And when you start looking at the log chart and seeing how far we've gone down, yes, we're in the golden buying zone. That's for sure. I can assure you, anything below this green line that we had. Hold on, give me a second, guys. Let me switch off some of this because there's a lot here. Yeah, let's do it this way. So you can see here that anything below this, anything below this green line here, we always say this is a great opportunity to buy. And this is what's happened here. We've come into this golden zone where we can actually buy, right? But we're doing dollar cost average because the potential is we can go down even further. When a lot of people go back in time and show you this, yes, it's good. It's a good probability that we may follow these certain trends. And we've come down here. We've spent we put a candle down here. Great. Nothing was stopping this candle from going any further. These are the logical facts you've got to use. Yes, because we just flipped and we became bullish. Yeah, but you got to understand where we were. We were already on the bottom of a bear market. This was a bottom of this was a bear market. This was a failed rally. And then we came back down again. But we had enough support, enough momentum, enough volume to shoot this up. And that's what helped us. Do we have the volume now? No. Why? Because people are uncertain. People are trying to hold on to their cash. People are taking money out of the stocks. People are afraid to buy houses. People are afraid to open businesses, whatnot. People are losing businesses as far as I know. So we've got this situation here where some analyst or some guys who like to just connect the dots or just to kind of sell you a video will do this. They need to find something every day. Remember, KR, one thing I told you as well many times, bro. There's a lot of people on YouTube, and I can assure you it's probably 999.9999% are there to sell you something. Okay, they're there to sell you something or sell themselves. Why? Because that's their bread and butter, and I understand that, right? Not many people do it as a hobby or a passion, or like myself, to help somebody. I'm trying to help people. You asked if there's a video live today. I'm doing it. Honestly, if you didn't ask, I wouldn't even bother. That's how it is. I'm not in the mood to go in. I'm just so tired. I'm knackered. But I said, do you know what? I'm going to make time. Brother's asking. Of course, he's probably waiting for me. And it's going to be disloyal for me as a friend not to do one for him. I'm going to do a video for him. So think about it this way. I'm here for you guys. I will only make a video for you guys. That's why I have no schedule, nothing. And I told you this before as well. I don't want anything from you guys. Ask me. If I can help you, I'll help you. If there's something technical you need, I'll give it to you. But I'm not going to go connecting dots for you. I'm just going to be really critically logical, right? So none of this makes any difference to me, whether we go below the 200, whether we go below the 300. Someone's probably going to come back and put a different number on it. You'll see what I mean, right? So people do this all the time, and it is annoying, but it doesn't matter. Listen, it absolutely doesn't matter whether they're in or not. What matters is certain data. For example, one of the data I want to show you is this as well. So let me just actually leave that there. Active wrapper, there you are. So just want to show you this, right? So when we're looking at certain patterns, we see, for example, how we played this. So we're looking at higher highs and higher lows and lower lows and lower lows, lower highs and lower lows. That's all we're looking at, right? So here, just focus on the white lines. What you can see is these movements, right? So, some people have called it ABC. That's fine. A, B, C, D, E moves. It doesn't matter what you call it. Remember, there's plenty of signals right here on this specific chart. We have so many different data. We can use all of them, or we can just handpick, cherry pick one or two. Absolutely fine. But this is what the most amount of data is. We were at the peak, we came down. We attempted, we failed. We were at the peak, we came down. We attempted, we failed. We were at the peak, we fell down. We attempted, we failed. Is there a repeating pattern there? Because when I start drawing certain things, what you notice is how this market works, right? So you end up seeing that there's always these structure here, right? Where we go up, we come down. We try, we fail. We go up, we try, we fail. We go down. It's a continuous repeating pattern. Nobody's going to show you this. Right? So just be cautious, be careful. It's okay. Listen, absolutely fine what people show you. I have absolutely no problem with any of that data. It doesn't matter what time frame you put it, whether you put it on 5. Hold on, let me deactivate some of this and let me remove some of this. It doesn't matter where you put it. The most important thing is these patterns, like these longer, bigger moves, because you can see how long these moves take. For example, I just want to show you this, right? So the move that took, for example, when we came down from here, when we ended up here, from there to the next bull market, you can see this was 1,000 days, 1,066, 1,066. Just think about that. Just try and comprehend that, the number. So when people start thinking the bottom's in, you've got to be really, really careful. Yeah, maybe the bottom's in. We will always give a data the benefit of the doubt, right? You got to give it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe this is it. This could be the bottom, right? This could be the bottom. But did we spend the previous type of length of time? Did we do this? If we haven't, then we've got a problem. And if we did, what are we really going to see? Are we going to see this particular, how this came down, for example, how this is coming down? Are we going to see another kind of a situation where we, actually, no, this is the one, right? So let's see, are we going to play this situation where we came down, we went up, we look bullish. So are we going to be bullish up to here and then shoot all the way down? Are we still waiting for this? Maybe we are. We just got to wait and see and observe, So just be calm, just be patient. Let's have a look, bro. Let's have a look. Okay, yeah, you're right. Fundamentals are still the same. Ruben, also my brother. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. So that's the situation we've got right now. So listen, when you start looking at the charts, remember, observe the market on a larger time scale, and you see certain things that will make total sense to you. Let me also get rid of this. I don't need this. Right, so it will make total sense to you how this market is looking right now. So far, I mean, look, we can see, yes, we've come down, that's fine, but that's the worst is not over. I'm still putting my last dollar to be technical. I'm putting my last dollar on this particular area here. So I know I spoke about on Discord as well. I said, look, guys, I'm still going to be trying to pick up something around this particular zone. So I've got this area here. I'm looking at this peak here, all the way up to here, this particular zone here. This looks like a very, very healthy area because I've got a lot more data. Remember, one touch point here and a few touch points here is a lot weaker than one touch point here, one touch point here, one touch point here, or many touch point here. So this is a stronger data. So for me, everything is signaling this could be possibly the bottom, which is what I'm going to be personally waiting for. Of course, when I activate my support resistance clusters, you can see they also kind of indicate that that is pretty much where we want to be in. This is the kind of an area where we want to be in, right? Everything is indicating, look, this is the area that we want to be in. So that makes me happy. And of course you can see, well, this is crazy. So on the weekly, it's changed a little bit. On the weekly, it's now going all the way down here. But again, nothing to worry about. I wouldn't worry about this particular area where it's showing $5,000-$6,000. That's just because the data sets that are used to predict these models or to tell us, well, where was the best support and resistance zones, it's just picking that data up on these weekly charts. But you can see on a 5-day, it's bang on that particular mark where we've put on. And that's where I'm personally going to be bullish. That's where I want to be putting my last dollar and pick up. So let's see what happens. KR says, thanks, brother. I really appreciate it. I hope so, bro. I hope so. Because I'm not having a go at you or anything like this. I know I sometimes sound like I'm having a go at people, but I'm not having a go at you or anything. I'm just trying to make you understand that, look, there are so much fundamentals here right now. The data is screaming and shouting, guys, look, You're missing the point. You're missing the point. Yes, I'm a Bitcoin bull. You're a Bitcoin bull. Everyone's a Bitcoin bull. Everyone knows Bitcoin. Everyone knows either Bitcoin or altcoin. And when you ask them which altcoin, they're like, what do you mean? I thought that's a coin. No, it's not. Bitcoin's a Bitcoin. Altcoin's every other shit coin. So a lot of people get confused with this, right? But regardless of any of this, right, one of the main important things that we're looking at. 1 second, guys. One of the main important things that we're looking at is we're trying to use logic here. When data doesn't help you, when the past doesn't kind of past never repeats. You know, people say history repeats, so it doesn't repeat, it rhymes, right? And we can see some sort of a rhythm here. Absolutely, we can see this rhythm. We can see these cycles playing out, a cycle within a cycle. We can see these trends playing out. We can use a moving averages, XYZ, whatever you name it. We're using everything, right? We want to use everything to our favor to see that basically if it can actually help us, right? But the greater problem that we have is, so the biggest problem we have is the situation right now is like, and this is a fact that I'm pulling out. I'm saying, look, guys, one of the biggest facts that a lot of people have missed, and I've missed it as well, and I've never mentioned it, but now that the opportunity is here for me to talk about it, why not, right? So I'm talking about it because I'm trying to be logical here. I'm saying, look, guys, the last one was because of the financial crash, because of this market crash, money crash, whatnot, and this and that. The development probably started after some other one that happened way before. But the point is this was created as a solution to a problem. But that problem has never come until now. And the recession is looming. I mean, people say recession is looming. People say recession is about to come. Do you know what? Looking at everything, looking at all the inflation, looking at how supermarkets are empty, how jobs are being lost, how businesses are being lost, how people can't pay mortgages, how people are closing down their businesses. I'm thinking it's already here. By the time you find out, it's going to be too late. By the time the whole world finds out, it's too late. We're going to be at the peak of it when we find out. So when we're trying to short the market, right, because the recession's in, someone's already done it. Someone's already done it. So, you know, right now when I'm seeing certain stuff, I know there's a lot more FUD, a lot more fear to come in. The bloodbath hasn't stopped. I think the bloodbath is going to continue more. I could be wrong, and I want to be wrong. I want this market to flip back again. But I just got this tough feeling. I don't know why. I just got this feeling that it has to come down, and some of the indicators that we use needs to be readjusted, and it will be next season. We will readjust them. But for now, it's just screaming to me that things look like it wants to come. I would say give it another 3-4 months. Also, another thing to point out, this is quite funny. You know, people talk about how bear markets last for XYZ amount of time. Well, they're not wrong. They're absolutely right. It does last for XYZ amount of time. And normally what people do is they will talk about it afterwards, right? And I want to talk about it now. I want to talk about this now because this is some fascinating stuff, right? If you actually observe this market. So when we start looking at this, for example, how long did this last? And remember, for me, this whole season here was a bear market, right? So if we just use this data, if we just say, like, okay, here, this was the distance, right, that we went down. Well, actually, let's just do it up to here. Fuck it. I know a lot of people might make a fuss about it, so I'm just going to do it at the bottom, up to the bottom here. All right, this was 375 days, guys. It took us 375 days for us to be in this particular position. So when we started being bearish, 375 days. And then from that point, right, so I'm going to leave that there, right, and then I'm going to draw another one on top, right. So from that point, right, so let's just calculate this whole thing. And then when did we become bullish? So now we're doing when did we first start becoming bullish, right? 820 days later. So from the peak to the bottom when we started the rally, right? Or you can even use the invalidation date. It doesn't matter what we do, but the point is here is there's a lot of time. And you know how the market was like, this market was different as well. Oh my days. I want to show you something else as well, guys. This is going to be mind-blowing. You're going to love this one. Let me switch off SRC and everything. Actually, I'm going to switch off everything because I want to show you this. This is so fascinating. It's unbelievable. Again, people won't show you this stuff, and I feel kind of like they should actually tell you what's really going on. All right, because it's important. These are important data. A lot of people have to show you. You know, a lot of people have talked about how stock to flows model has been bust. Not in my opinion. He just needs to make a few adjustments. I think his model is still intact. Remember, I also made a video and I said in 5 years' time, I could see Bitcoin being 100K. I mean, I said that in 5 years' time, and I'm talking in 2020. I'm talking about 2025, Bitcoin being 100K. The video hasn't picked up, but the point is, I'm sure a lot of people see, oh, what the hell is this guy talking about? Ignore him. But there comes a time when people won't ignore you, because the thing is, there's a fact. You know, when you start using logic, you'll understand why I said, I'm a bull. I want it to go to $1 million, but why do I say in 5 years' time it could potentially be 100K? Watch that video, you might find out. Now, let's talk about something here. So we talked about how a bull market can be invalidated if the market crashes by 50%. We've talked about this, right? So in this particular bull market, something very different happened, if that makes sense, right? Very different. So you can see how these previous bull markets, how these pumps, they never went back to 50%. They never went down, right? When they crashed, yeah, they crashed from the peak. And when people start calculating, they show it like, oh, 80, 90% dump. Yes, from the top, 80, 90%. But from the bottom, we did like 1,000%, 10,000%. No one's talking about those. So when you start looking, when you start measuring, things make so much more sense. If you start measuring, say, for example, let's just use, I mean, I can use that candle. Let's use it. Let's just use this candle, for example, to here. You measure it, you put it on the top, and what you realize, this is the middle point. We never came back to that middle point. So we never ended the bull market, even though we were in a bearish situation. We haven't ended it. Now I'm about to shock you, because the second thing happened when we started this particular bull run. You can see how we went all the way up to there. And again, look, we never invalidated it. The 0.5%, 50% mark was here. We never came back down here. So these are important things to look at. You know, also when you look at the next one, for example, the next one was from down here. Let's just say from down here. Next one was down here. We do this. We went all the way to $20,000. Look, we never came back down here. Very important fact to understand. We never ever came back down here. The first time, right? The first time. So let's take this area here, 2018. The first time we actually came back 50%. Down, well, I can put it here actually. Let's put it here, right? The first time we actually almost came down to 50% is here. Look. One sec, guys. Oh, there we are. Look, this is the 50% mark. The first time, almost close to 50%. That is mind-boggling. When you start looking at this, these are different data. It tells you that, look, this is the first time we've literally come down. I know a lot of people say, oh, well, actually, the bull market started from here. Yeah, the bull market started from here. According to you, fair play. Let's go for it. We start the bull market from here. Let's do this. So from here, we start the bull market. Let's do this. We go all the way to the top here. There we are. Look, we're on the dot 50%. On the dot 50%. Okay, many people don't want to admit that. They're like, no, it's not true. No, it's true. Look, it's undeniable. We are currently in that 50% mark. This is the first time we did this. You know, but me being macro, I look at things in a different light. You know, for me, I'm like, okay, forget this 50% mark. We talk about how bull markets could be invalidated. We've genuinely invalidated this whole freaking damn thing. It doesn't matter where you put the candle. It doesn't make any difference to me. But look left, look at the facts. Never did, never did, never did. This is the first time we actually did it. But then when we start looking at macro, when we start looking macro to the past and right now, this is all part of the same original system. We're still part of the original system. So when you start looking at this original system, and let me just change this before people go crazy, right? I should put this line here. If you look carefully, this is part of the greater movement. And part of the greater movement, technically, and this one goes to stock to flow, technically goes to stock to flow because it is following that path. It is following that stock to flow path. Of course, he needs to adjust a few things because his model derived from the stock markets. As soon as stock to flow, literally shows a middle finger to the stock market and says crypto only, his model will work. So that's how I'm looking at certain things anyway. So this is the macro factors that I look at. when you look at certain facts, I mean, these are just facts. You just saw this. I'm not making this up. This is happened all in front of you. You can see the data. You can see all the stuff here that we got. And this tells me that this season is different because we've been kind of leaning too much on previous past and this and that, but this is not like the past. This is nothing like the past, because remember, the last recession was here before crypto. The last recession or last financial crash, whatever we had, the drama we had, was in 2008. Bitcoin was released in 2009, a year later. Okay, and this is the first time Bitcoin is being tested. Bitcoin is literally being tested for the first time in its entire history against another financial situation. It has never been treated or tested. It has never been tested against the stock market, against the houses, against the banking system. It has never been tested. This is the first time in history that's being tested. So if you want to go back to the videos that you saw about the 200-day moving average, the first time this, first time that, no. This is the first time we're coming into the problem, the very problem Bitcoin was designed to solve. I feel proud. I'm proud. I'm in it. I'm proud. I'm in it. I can see banks fear it. Banks fear it. Governments fear it. They want to control it. They can't control it. They know this. So what they want to do, they want to regulate the people that they know are dealing with it. They fear this. Because remember, the global currency works on a debt-based money system. The more debt you have, the more money you can have. We don't have debt. Okay, so I mean, you guys who started cryptocurrency back in when was it, 2020, 2021, some of you guys 2020, 2021, I think you guys entered at one of the best prime times in history. I think you guys, I mean, you're about to make history, put it this way. I mean, we were like precursor to you guys. We were like from the day one, we were like we were playing with the monopoly money. We were playing with the monopoly money, the magic money, the magic internet money. That's what we were playing with. We didn't know if it was going to be sustainable or not sustainable. Is it going to be real? Is it going to be fake? We had no concept of it when we entered. All we knew is, here's something that solves a problem. Here's something nobody can control. Here's something that is liberal. Because that's what we are. We want freedom. That's what we were fighting for. But you guys are about to make history. You guys are about to make history because laws are getting involved, governments are getting involved. They're trying to regulate this. And on top of all of this, there's about to be a massive, massive financial or global collapse in the monetary system. And Bitcoin now, after over a decade, like 13 years, first time it's being tested. That now prove yourself. You were built for one reason only. You were built to be the money of the people without a middleman, without an intermediary. You were built to be a peer-to-peer payment network. Prove it. Move those funds. Make my money again. You know, when I know my dollars are going to crash, you're going to be my currency. Prove it. That's what BTC is doing right now. What's going on with USDC? USDC or USDT? USDC, USDC, yeah, USTC. Which is USTC? I don't know, bro. But listen, if we're talking about Terra Luna coin, have no idea. I don't give a shit about them. Actually, their old Luna, the Luna C is doing a lot better in performance compared to the new Luna 2.0, number one. So that's a fact, right? We know that's holding really strong compared to the other one's dumping. And I said to you guys, I'll probably pick some up if it goes to $1. So I'm still waiting for that one. When we're talking about USDC, USDT, BUSD, XYZ, PAX USD, you name it, every other USD out there, there's a massive shitstorm coming for all of them. There's a massive, massive shitstorm coming for all of them. And believe me, a lot of them will not survive. A lot of them will not survive. Of course, they will survive if they're decentralized or something like this, if nobody knows how to go and find the founders of the company. But if they don't fall in line, then people are not going to trust them. How can you trust someone who can print infinite amount of money? who has no backing, who has nothing. So everybody has to be audited. They have to be regulated like the same way. And it's going to be healthy for all of us. Of course, depends on what level of regulations. There's regulation that controls the ins and out, the mint and burn, for example, or how much you have, and audits it. That's a good regulation. And then there's regulation that says we want to see how much every person is holding. That's bad regulation, because then they're tracking you. You don't want tracking, right? So that's what's happening. So I'll be very cautious. When it comes to USDC, it is very safe, but it is the only one that is also probably being tracked. Okay, when you got people like Goldman Sachs involved, Circle involved, and I think they just recently changed their name. They're trying to be the new federal currency or federal government or whatever. Because remember, if the digital currency comes out, the CBDCs come out, you don't need a Federal Reserve anymore. Why do you need Federal Reserve? You know, so yeah, that's how it works basically. So if you can do something, yeah, that's what it is. But right now, do you know what? It doesn't matter what currency you go in. I'll be honest with you, it absolutely doesn't matter what currency you go in. If there's going to be a global shitstorm, it's going to happen to everybody. Let's just put it this way: everything will collapse at the same time. Is there anything safe to put it in? Well, obviously, crypto guys will always say crypto. The minerals like the gold, silver guys, they will say gold and silver. Silver is something I've looked at, but again, when it comes to physical assets, I personally don't want to hold any. Digital assets, absolutely fine, and I'm going to risk it. So for me, personally, it is going to be a massive risk right now. If anything happens to USDC, USDT, or BUSD, to be precise, BUSD and USDC, if anything happens, then yeah, I'm going to be in a shithole, basically, put it this way. So I don't really know what I'm going to do. There is no other way of protecting, because when the market crashes, when the market comes down, if BTC goes down 10%, everything else is going to go down 20%. So rather than losing all my funds in the downtrend, I've just got to have faith and just got to leave it there. So that's what I'm doing. But I am playing with BUSD. Sole reason is because Binance is a fairly large exchange. And as far as I have checked last, they are one-to-one backed. So is USDC, but I'm not using USDC as much because of obvious reasons I mentioned earlier on. So yeah, just be cautious. That's what I'm gonna say. Just be cautious. You know, there's gonna be so much, bro. When you're talking about coins, altcoins, new coins, new drops, new airdrops, this, that, whatever, what you'll find is, as with, like, right now, you guys are in it. You guys came in last year. Some of you guys came in the year before. Some of you guys even before that, 2019. If you focus now and start to look back, like take a step back, you notice how things have changed, how the space has changed. You know, there were exchanges where you didn't need any KYC. Now you need KYC. There were majority of the exchanges you didn't need an AML statement. Now you need AML. There are exchanges who are asking where you got your money from, give them your payslip or whatnot. They're doing that as well. There are other exchanges who are connecting directly, like for example in Inland Revenue here for the taxman, they're connecting directly. In USA, it's IRS, they're connecting directly. So you got to understand this. We're evolving constantly, and we're evolving faster than anything else, right? People who can keep up with it or stay at least one step ahead, you're going to do all right. You're going to do all right. Other people, they'll do all right as well, but I think they're just going to feel it a little bit more because they didn't react to it. It's going to be a shock to them. So, I mean, Costa's not here, but he was, last time I spoke to him, and we were talking about like crypto taxes and this and that, and I tried to explain to him certain things. There's so much out there. There's so much out there. With crypto, real crypto, they can't track you. They still can't track you. They still can't track you. So that's what's going on. And also, if you notice, legalization, a lot of regulations have started to currently tell exchanges to delist these privacy coins and this and that as well. So like coins, like top coins like Monero and this and that are getting shafted. And last I heard, Monero is actually building their own exchange where you can go and trade everything else and Monero as well in a complete decentralized way. I would personally love to contribute to that. I would personally love to work alongside that, because I think that's really good. We need privacy coins, because at the end of the day, if everything is now open source, which is where we already are, right? I love how Charles Hoskinson, he was asked to do the opening thing on the current congressional hearing in USA, and he said, you talk about transparency, and all of that stuff, right? But that's what we are, right? From the core, from the beginning, it's all about being transparent. You know, you want disclosure. So sorry, they wanted to know disclosure. They want disclosure. You want disclosure, but we are transparent. The only difference is you don't know who owns it, but every coin is actually proven that that's what it is. And one, not one many more, not one less. You can't duplicate it. You can't fake it. You can't cheat anyone. You know, even scammers can't even take the money out. Come and think about that, right? So that's the kind of crazy stuff we're in. I mean, you can't get better than this. But we don't benefit the current financial system. You see, this is the problem. They need to be able to print more money, make more money, manipulate this. That's how they work anyway. So that's what's going on. Now, earlier on, I mentioned to you, I'm going to talk to you about next month. So I will not be posting any video next couple of weeks, at least 2-3 weeks. I will not be posting any videos. However, whenever I do get time, I will post something on Discord. I'm going to be away, so I'm going to be very busy and I'm going to be away. So if you don't see a video in the next 2-3 weeks, don't fuss. I will be on Discord. I'll do my best. The reason I'm not going to be doing any videos and this and that, because most of my equipment, most of my like laptop and stuff like this, they are going to be locked away. So I'm not going to be carrying any of that stuff. I've got reasons why I'm not going to. There's not going to be any smart devices with me. So end of the day, yeah, so a couple of weeks here, you won't see me, but don't fret. I'll be back as soon as I'm back. I will do another video. Now, there's 8-9 people on the chat. Let's have a look and see if there's any other questions. KR, I hope your question was answered, my brother. I hope it was good enough anyway. I hope it was good enough. So, yeah, give me a shout. Let me know. Yeah, I see 8 people there. So let me know if you got any questions or anything. We can fire those out if there's any other coins or anything you want me to look at. But ultimately, remember what I always say, whatever Bitcoin does, everything else would do, and everything else would do it a lot more than Bitcoin as well. So that's pretty much just how the market works. When you look at the total market cap, yeah, it's pretty much similar, exactly similar. I don't see much difference here. So yeah, it's not that good. I see Funky Energy. How do you feel about CBDC? I think it's unavoidable. That's the truth. Honestly, Funky. It's unavoidable. I mean, what you're going to do if for example, tomorrow, say for example, we are in the dollar currency, right? And someone turns around and says, we don't have a dollar. What'd you do? You know, there's nothing you could do. Here's a fun fact for you. If you go to the Google Maps or whatever, check out a country called Andorra. A country called Andorra. You know, they have no currency. So they have no currency. They use anything. You can pay them with any currency you desire. All right. And they're actually in between France and Spain. And they're like a duty-free country. It's weird. It's like a duty-free country. It's not a duty-free. It's a country, but it's duty-free. You know, and a country that doesn't have any currency. How hilarious is that? So that you can use anything. And this is what will happen, basically. You know, where we have to pick something, and if CBDC is going to be the way forward, then we might as well. And funny thing is since the 1960s, 65s, we've been digitized anyway. So your bank balances are all digital anyway. It's a matter of us now being able to spend it digitally. That's the technology that was missing, by the way. So the evolution of money from rock, paper, scissors, whatever you want to call it, stones and whatnot. Let's leave all of that side, right? We're not going to go to the history of money, but if we talk about the evolution, right? Where, you know, we went from gold coins, copper coins, whatever, to paper, right? Paper is the evolution, right? From paper, we realized we can make checks. So we did checks. When plastic came out and when computerized, we started doing, back in the 80s and 90s, we started doing Visa, MasterCard and XYZ, right? So that was a next evolution. Currently, we've got payment apps, right? Where we can connect multiple wallets, multiple apps and this and that. Like me, I've got one card that does everything for me. It even gives me airport lounge access as well, which is brilliant, right? So the point is that's the evolution, right? So now we can pay people with money, but the banks are still one step behind. And we're having to rely on other third-party applications to do it. So banks are now going to basically do it themselves. So when we talk about CBDC, all the nonsense around it is old news. I don't even know why they even bother with it. They could literally drop it right now today if they wanted to. Right, but the one thing that they're missing is the traceability. Okay, so when you do apps, money can move from one place to another, and they can track it to a certain limit because of jurisdictions and all the political drama banks have. So one bank may not disclose to another bank group, for example, for privacy reasons. One country may not do it to another country and XYZ, right? So the situation is kind of messed up where banks can't track where that money goes. Yes, there's a number on the note, but there's so far they can track that. What CBDC is trying to do is basically leverage on the ledger system, the technology that we use on the blockchains, right? How we can take a wallet address or take a token address or token contract and literally track the life out of it all the way to infinity, right? And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to track every single coin or every single money they're going to mint, because it's not going to be a coin or paper money anymore. So they are going to do this. And when it comes, because you're still going to need it, because this is part of our daily life. It's like you need food, you need water, right? You need a roof, you need everything. People might say you don't need money. Well, no, actually you do. Unless you're going living in the jungle, which is fine, right? And even that's kind of rare these days, because they find you and they take you away. So it's kind of hard, but you have to understand that that's what's going on. You know, when it comes in, we got to accept it. But if we have accepted it now, we're already kind of a few steps ahead. And they are going to track us. Believe me, they're going to track us one way or another. They're going to track us. We might as well just take it. You know, and when we're talking about digital currency or cryptocurrency, well, we're already in it, you know, so what's another layer going to do? You know what I mean? The only way lives can change or things can change is if we, you know, if we abandon governments altogether, put it this way, governments and banking system altogether, then yes, it's a free country, free economy. But that's never going to happen. You know, that's too much control. Right. So I hope that kind of makes sense. I'm embracing it, honestly. Let's see. I see Kritzer here. Do you think BTC will close above 200 week MA this week? If it doesn't, that will be the first time in history. It's already been, no, so okay. You're the second person that's asked this. So let's show you again, right? Let's show you one more time, please. One more time. Okay. People are talking about this CBDC and you're talking about, look, 200 week moving average. Look, we are below 200. We've closed one candle already. In fact, two candles. Look, we've closed two candles. This is 200 week. This is 200 week. We've already closed it. There's you know, people are talking about this. This is old news, my brother. It doesn't cause us anything. Honestly, believe me, when we talk about this. Yes, moving average is a data, is a way of us to see what the market has done historically. So we're using the past 200 weeks. That's 4 years worth of data, or technically close enough to 4 years, because 52 weeks is a year, right? So we're using that data to calculate where we've been. And it's just an average, just throwing out an average. It doesn't matter whether it's 200, 100, 50, 20 days, 30 days. You put whatever you want, put 199 days. It doesn't matter. What matters is this is just an indication for us, right? So that's why it's called an indicator, right? So as an indicator, we're just using this to adjust. Ultimately, the decision is made by you and me, looking at the charts, looking at the market. Okay, these are not absolute. Your stochastic RSI, your RSI, when we're looking at, for example, here, I'll show you. So when we're looking at stochastic RSI, all of these data, everything that we see here, none of these are relevant, right? Because they're not absolute. So what you see on the top here is not absolute, and neither is this absolute. These are just a way of us to measure what's happened in the past and kind of assume what the probability will be in the future. That's all we're doing. We're using these data to indicate what could be the likelihood of something happening, going up or going down. That's all it is. Okay, when we're talking about, a lot of the people try and compare the stock markets. I mean, you do know the stock markets are like a couple of 100 years old. When people are trying to do the charts, well, do you know the charts have been around like 60, 70 years, right, for the stock market? So we can't compare those charts to these charts. It doesn't work. You know, you can only compare something that is similar, right? So we can probably compare apples and pears because they're very similar. Maybe they don't look alike, but they're apples and pears, right? But we can't compare an apple and an orange because they're completely two different things. And that's the kind of stuff that's going on. So 200, it doesn't matter, right? Absolutely doesn't matter. So I hope this kind of makes sense to you. It's okay. It's the first time we've done it already. And a lot of people have talked about how you know, this hasn't closed below. Yes, it hasn't closed below, absolutely. But remember, a week is not a day. You know, we could have pushed here on the last day. I mean, let's just flip it and see what happened, right? So here you go. Look, it's just exactly what I said to you. So you can see, yes, we didn't close a week below, but when we start looking at these 5-day, look, we're down, right? So the data changes. And if we look at the daily, I won't even show it. Oh, sorry, there's too much data here, guys. So when we're looking at the daily for the same period, you can see how it worked out. So these data can be manipulated, depends on how people show it to you, whether they show you the 200-week, the 5-day 200 MA, or they show you the what do you call this, the daily, whatever. It doesn't matter. But ultimately, what I'm trying to say is, it's how a lot of the TA guys like to, and no disrespect to anybody, right, who like to connect dots. It doesn't matter. The fact is, we want to look at larger time frames. We've got that. That's our fact. So we want that fact. When I look at larger time frames, we've got that. So we know, okay, this is what's happening. We want to start looking at a stochastic RSI and RSI. RSI is giving us the movement in the market. The stochastic RSI is kind of the chaotic version. So the RSI is our stable indicator, showing us where we are currently. Are we bullish or are we bearish? Showing us that indication, right? That's what the yellow line, the RSI line, is showing us. Relative strength index. That's all it is. It's showing us. Currently it's pointing down. We've created a lower low. So yes, it's fine. For us to invalidate this, we need to now break above this point here, this kind of 53 on this weekly, I believe. Yes, weekly 53. And then we move out. So that's what this is showing. When we're looking at this stochastic RSI, this is the chaotic version. This is showing us the changes that are happening chaotically. People are, once they're bullish, once they're bearish, sometimes, you know, whatever happens, this is the chaotic version. This is not stable at all. And we can see how even this is reacting on a weekly. We can see, yes, it wants to go up, but currently it doesn't, it's not doing much. It's going sidelines. You can see this data here. Let me just show you. So you can see how we've been in this particular area kind of going sideways. You see what I mean? So this is the same data that is reflected. If you start looking here, you can see here. So we are reflecting the same data that we're going sideways. We're indecisive. We are not sure what we want to do. So I hope this kind of makes sense. While we're on the stochastic RSI, I want to show you something else as well, actually, guys. So on the stochastic RSI, the monthly is indicating, yes, this month we're definitely closing. So this indicator is only telling us that this month we are definitely closing the blue line below. So the chaotic line is going to be below. That's a bearish line, full stop. That's closing there. The next candle could be a bullish one, and we could easily see this attempting to flip back up. Now, if it does flip back up and it goes above the red line, we are bullish. We could be bullish for a week, bullish for 2 weeks, whatever. If you are trading, have your stop losses. But what we also want to see is this line flip back up again. You know, and again, remember what I said, if it goes to 50K, you know, and it gives us the sign, then we are bullish. These are golden opportunities. These are the buying zones. These are the golden opportunities you always get. Like in these zones, at these prices, at these levels, it's the perfect time to buy. Right, and I'm not going to give you any financial advice. You do you, whatever you like to do. Right, ultimately, I'm just here for entertainment. But the point is, these are the perfect opportunities people get in these market. Right. Actually, let me flip this up a few more months, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm just going to put on 6 monthly just to no too much, just to kind of condense the chart. Yeah, there we go. Let's condense the chart. Right. So what we're looking actually, no, this is too much as well. So 2 months. Yeah, 2 months is better. There you go, 2 months. So just to show you, whenever we enter these zones, right, these bottom zones here, right? So if you look here, these zones here, these are like the perfect opportunities you get on a 2 month. Is actually, this one's actually quite good. You can see how this whole area here was the perfect zone to buy in. Once you bought here, then you moved up, right? So just to kind of show you what I mean. So this was the bearish situation. So from this situation all the way up to here was a great time. Right, so these were the actual opportunities for people in the market to buy around this particular zone, and then the pumps happen. So those are the things that I'm seeing right now. Anyway, for me, the one thing I'm seeing, as I said, I'm just seeing the market has reset. It is giving us this opportunity. I do want to observe the higher time frames. I don't want to be looking at too much of the indicators and fuss too much. Yes, it could be the first time. But it also could be the last time, right? So while we see something, we should just take a step back. Yes, it's there. We don't deny what's there, right? We take the chart for what it is. The chart is 100%. When these candles are coming, this is data being fed from everywhere. This is 100%. I'm okay with that. When we're looking at our moving averages, let's be a bit cautious because we don't have enough data to give us the significant data we want. What I mean by that, if you go back, this is where the problem happens. We just don't have enough data to go back on, you know. So I hope this kind of makes sense. Like when you're looking at NASDAQ, when you're looking at other stock, the charts have existed a very long time. And so we can put this data and we can have continuation, few cycles, 10, 20, 30 year gaps in order for us to build a better data set. Here, we can't do this. We've never had it. So just to kind of show you that there's not enough data here. I mean, you can't use, how many years was that? Let's have a look. 14 to here, 14 to here. So 2014 to now, what's this, like 8 years? There's only 8 years worth of data. It's not enough. SDCrypto. So not going to 19K or 18K to buy there. No, I believe we are going down. So on Discord, I mentioned this a few days ago. I said, look, guys, I think we actually got the opportunity to go down all the way to 13. However, the market is showing signs, and this is where the thing is, right? So we talked about this on a daily, and let me switch off the drawings. Let me switch off all of this and just get this. So we talked about this basically, right? On the daily, I saw something, and I mentioned this to everybody on the Discord group. I said, look, guys, on the daily, we actually came and tested this zone twice, right? So this is very important that you understand. We've tested this area twice in a row. And then what we started doing was we created these highs and then a higher low. Currently, this is a higher low. So the trend has started to kind of change. However, there are more important data to look at. So one of the data we looked at, and this is on a daily, remember this, is that we're now trending up, but we're still going to come and test this level here, this 50-day moving average. So if we come and bounce on this 50-day moving average, similar like this, then we could come back down even further. That's the key here. So we're not looking for if we're going to break up, if we're going to do this. None of this matters. It doesn't matter. What we're looking for is higher time frame confirmation, market volume, and everything to indicate that yes, the market is back in, we are moving forward. Global politics to also confirm we are currently moving forward. And then we move forward, right? So, but right now, no, there's too many data, too many, sorry guys, my head's not working. That's why I just need sugar. There's too many variables. Yeah, currently we have far too many variables in the market. Or variables, for example, the current war situation. That's a variable that we didn't have before. The stock market's crashing. That's a variable. We didn't have that, you know, when we started the bull market. The current, like, you know, pandemic or whatever you want to call it, still around, right? Technically still around. We didn't, these were not fact, this is a variable. So when you look at all of these and you add these variables up together, things can change, dramatically. And then on top of that, you've got these moving averages as well, which people also use as an indicator. And don't get me wrong, people do use them. But is it the absolute? Absolutely not. You have to use multiple indicators to give you a rough guidance of where to go. Because remember, when you're trading, when you're buying, when you're selling in these markets, it's all based on probabilities. Okay, it's all based on probabilities. Imagine this, right? If I told you you can buy one Bitcoin today for $1, but you're never going to make any money, would you ever invest in that? Think about it. You wouldn't, right? But if I say you can buy one Bitcoin today for $1 and there's a probability it's going to go to $10, would you invest into it? Straight away. You would take 1 in 10 chance. You say, okay, fine, that's a 1 in 10 chance. I'll take that. My $1 makes me 10. Why not? I'm going to take $1's worth of chance. And that's how the market works. It's all probabilities, you know? So I hope this kind of makes sense. Oh my. So remember, guys, for the next couple of weeks, I won't be here. I'm going to be away traveling. So, yep, don't miss me too much. And if I'm, as I said, I won't have any smart devices with me. If, of course, if I log into something, then it's a different story. I won't have any smart devices with me. So yeah, if I don't message you or if I don't reply, remember I'm still here. I'm just not in the country, and I don't have my tech with me, if that makes sense, right? Any other questions, guys? Any other questions? If not, then we are going to slowly make our move and get on with life. Yeah. Psychologically definitely plays a huge role, of course, Curtsy. Psychology is part of the game, and this is one of the reasons, like, so some of the guys who have been in this group for a long time, I've told them there's three things to always take care of, right? Whenever you're buying something, actually four technically, so I'll explain how it works. Number one, you have to have discipline, right? You have to know where you want to buy, what you want to do. That's, you already know that that's when I'm buying, that's what I'm doing. What I want to buy, when I want to buy. So you have that discipline, and it doesn't matter what the market does. So you already understand that. You have to have strategy. If the market goes here, I'm going to sell it off, I'm going to get out, cut my losses. Or if the market goes here, I'm going to sell, I'm going to get out. Doesn't matter what happens. But the idea is to always take your initial investment out as soon as possible. And in that same factor, we use risk management, right? So we're kind of using discipline, strategy, and risk management. However, there's one more. There's a button. There's a red button. When you hit that buy button, right, your psychology, your emotion, everything, you hit that red button or green button, whatever, you press that buy button to physically buy or make a trade, or buy short or long, whatever, doesn't matter. When you press that button, the assumption for you psychologically should be you've lost your money. You've lost your money until you take it out. That keeps us healthy, because we are willingly saying, this is a bet I'm losing until I take my money out. Then I'm a winner. Because until I take my funds out, I'm not a winner. Someone comes in and says to me, I'm going to put 100 grand in. Fine. He says, when do I take it out? I said, I don't know. When do you want to take it out? He said, I want to take it out a year later. I said, fine. He said, when do I get profit? I said, a year later. He said, but why is that? I said, well, you don't get your money until you take it out. Right? You put 100K in. You want to take a profit a year later. What's this, a money printing machine? Nobody knows. Nobody's seen the future. That's the thing here, right? So you're going to put 100K in for a year. Fine. You put 100K in for a year. When you take it out, then you calculate whether you made a profit or a loss. But if you're thinking you're only going to make profit, you're wrong. So you got to do your risk assessment down there as well and see where it goes. So psychology definitely plays a massive part. Anyone who's watched this channel from right from the beginning, you probably know this as well. Usually when I draw something or say something, and this is how I am in real life as well, I don't like going back to, I'm like, guys, I've said it already. What's the point going back there? We've talked about certain scenarios, done certain scenarios. That's it. We're not going to be there every day trying to hype the market and this and that. That's not what we're here for. We are builders. We build, right? That's what we do. I love technology, and I love to build technology. I love to work with other companies who build technology. And this is why you probably notice, I'm sure somewhere on the channel, let me just check if it does say it. Yeah, it says, so Shams Logic, that's the current name of the channel. Or the channel was called SDCrypto before we changed it. We don't want to call it crypto anymore. And then you got paradexes. Paradexes is the company. I'm not going to shill it or anything right now. There's no point. But paradexes is, well, it's not a company. It's a decentralized exchange, right? So we're launching a decentralized exchange out on cryptocurrency. But at the same time, we could have launched it yesterday. We could have launched this last year, year before. In fact, 4 years ago. But we didn't. We didn't launch it because it's not about launching a cryptocurrency. That's the easy part. We wanted to build an infrastructure. We wanted to build a actual platform where people can go and benefit. Find ways of doing it. Find ways of keeping ourselves legal and legally doing it. Find ways of making sure that everybody benefits in the most right way. Make sure that we're compliant with all the legislations, the laws, the governments, whatever. Try and do it the right way. That's what we've been trying to do. He says, you have an interesting accent. You are from the UK. Also, I joined the Discord. Always appreciate the good conversation. Thank you, Katsy. Thank you. Yes, I am from UK. I was raised here completely. I can also almost say I was born here. So yes, and funnily, English was my first language. However, let me correct it. Let me just tell you a little secret here. So my English, a lot of people have said I've got a very good accent. Funny thing is this is not English from school. So I'm very streetwise. So this is more of my street cred that I have. So I don't know how I picked it up, but yeah, I've heard a lot of people say my English is very good. In fact, I try to say I'm like a foreigner or something if I go to another country and they're like, nah, you're English, mate. It's hard. People who haven't seen me assume I am, so it's quite crazy. But yeah, thank you very much. May I ask where you're from? So that would be really nice to know as well. And of course, thank you very, very much for joining Discord. That's where when I'm not on the videos, I send the links on and everything on Discord as well. That's what I do basically. But one thing, as you Curtsy, you've probably watched before as well. I'm just straight up, and a lot of people have spoken to me on the phone and this and that as well. I'm just exactly how I am. I agree, very good accent. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Right. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions? If you're going to ask me one question, I know some of you guys might want to ask, when is paradexes launching? Not yet. Why and this and that, we will talk about it at some stage, but not now. There's a lot of stuff going on from the US, Kansas to be specific. Awesome Kansas. Who doesn't love a bit of Kansas, right? I'm not going to go down the yellow brick road, but we do love Kansas. One of our lead developers, he's from Chicago. So yeah, so he's from Chicago, and I did promise I'm going to go and meet him in Chicago, and we're going to go hunting together one day. So we're going to do this very soon, so that should be interesting. But yeah, definitely, I mean, if I'm there, I would love to come and see Kansas as well. I don't see a reason why not. So it should be interesting. Should be interesting. I haven't traveled much, actually. I haven't traveled the world much. My most travel destination is pretty much in the same location. So I do travel. I have traveled a lot to Dubai, put it this way. Right? There's no other thing. Why? I don't know. I think it's overrated. I think it's the same. I personally haven't seen anything different in Dubai, but I don't know, there's that feeling there. It's like when you go there, you can be oblivious, you can do whatever you want and not worry too much. So I kind of like that. But I do want to go and travel the world a little bit. We've got a lot of hunting around Kansas. Awesome. Because I've never been hunting. I've said to Max Flow as well. Sorry, his name is Max. I told him as well. I said, look, in UK, because of the laws and everything, there are some areas where you can go and hunt and this and that, probably some birds or something like that, so maybe some rabbits or something. But it's not the same as going and proper hunting, you know what I mean, in the wilderness. So that's an experience that I would love to share, I would say. Or I would love someone else to share with me, actually, because I'm not sure if I'm cut out for it, but I would love to try it out as an experience and see what happens there. That should be awesome. Right, guys, any other questions? So if you guys here, if you've got any questions, crypto related or anything, let me know. As I said, paradexes, we'll talk about it on another video. I'm not, remember, if there is something to talk about paradexes, I will talk about it. The only thing I could say right now is join the community, start building, start creating, because we've got the invite tracker bot activated. The more people you invite, the more chances you got. We're giving away 1 million paradexes token when it comes out. But when it comes out means we're not going to be distributing anything until the whole sale or not so sale or the sacrifice process is done, because there's a crazy few things we're doing. So once all of those are done, then we're going to basically start distributing. But right now, it's just get the word out there, get the community growing. That's it, nothing else. Because when we're ready, we're ready. Right, when we're ready, and I'm telling you, there's no stopping us. But right now, we're not ready yet. There's a lot of stuff that we need to do. Once they're all done, then yeah, of course, we're going to move on. You definitely should. I love trying new things at least once. Yes, that's the whole point. I have tried everything at least once. I was talking to someone the other day about many types of fishing that I've tried. I've tried everything pretty much. Well, not everything. I haven't flied a plane yet or a helicopter. I haven't. Yeah, helicopter. I haven't done a motorbike, by the way. I've done the automatic moped or whatever you want to call them, but I've never done a motorbike. So that's something I'm thinking about. Maybe next year I'll get a license and go and get myself one. Supply demand and supply resistance. Support resistance. Okay, that's a good one, right? So when we're talking about supply and demand, stock to flow. So just pick up on stock to flow. He kind of talked about it. With certain cryptocurrencies, especially like, so if we stick to Bitcoin, I think it would be easier. Awesome. So Kurtzy says he follows paradexes on Twitter. Awesome, my brother. Thank you very much. So, all right, let's start with Bitcoin. It's easier. So there are two types of currencies out there. Some there's supply versus demand, and others there are actually demand, but there's a lot of supply as well, right? So you've got coins with fixed supplies. Those are obviously the best ones to pick up because, an example, Bitcoin, for example, you have a fixed amount of supply that is a predefined supply. And as time progresses, they have these difficulties on it, which means every 4 years you get less supply. And as more and more people know, the demand keeps on growing. So even if years ago people bought thousands of Bitcoin for $1,000, for example, and now they can only buy a percentage or a very small fraction for $1,000, the demand is still growing. So that has a really good curve, right? So if you think about it, supply versus demand is one of the biggest fundamental drivers of a fixed supply asset, or a scarce asset, as people like to call it. I don't think Bitcoin is scarce. There's plenty around. 21 million and then divisible by 100, that's a lot. That's like 21 trillion or something like that. God knows what it is. But the point is there's a lot of them around. But I do believe in that. I don't think the price has anything to do with it. In fact, if the demand is high and the supply is reduced, so the demand needs to go up and the supply needs to go down, if this happens, then it does have a significant impact on the demand. So the supply side, remember, there's plenty, right? But it has, because there's going to be more demand going up while supply is going down. Situation happens, more people want it, and then we can have this price explosion. And that's something that I would love to see. So those are benefits, right? However, there are other coins, like, for example, let's go to Ethereum, number 2 coin. They have a minting schedule. So they say yearly we're going to mint, or interest, or whatever they call it. We're going to bring in so much more supply. So that's what they do. They're kind of inflationary. However, Ethereum has decided to resolve this problem and try and reduce the supply, or at least the speed of supply, by doing a burn mechanism recently, which is great. And then you've got coins like BNB, who started off with, I think, 300 million coins or something like this, or 500 million coins or whatever. I can't remember on the top of my, I think it was 370 or something like that. But they've been burning. So rather than having a fixed supply or having a more increasing supply, what they said was, this is what we start with. Over time, we're going to buy back as much as possible, or collect as much as possible from the fees and XYZ. And then we're going to burn it down to a specific number, 100 million, and that's it. That's their model. I have also thought about something similar for paradexes, but I haven't really said anything yet. This is not written in stone, so let's not talk about it. But those are great coins. So for me, what I see is any coins that has this destructive nature, where the original supply is either fixed, right? So the original defined supply is fixed, and the demand is still increasing. They have great potential, especially for our pockets, right? Great potential, because that means that the demand is so high that we can actually sell it for a little bit more than what it would have been worth. So that's the supply thing. Now, support resistance. This one I'm going to go on to the chart to show you. Support resistance is a very, very important thing to look at. Let's find you another chart. So we're going to do some support resistance here, right? So right, give me a sec, guys. Let me reload this. Let me try and get some support resistance on this. So support resistance, I want to show you this. It's actually a pretty good thing, the way it works. So let's bin everything for now. All right, so let's do this. So let's do some support resistance, right? So support and resistance, it's pretty simple. I actually want to activate one more thing as well. So this, there you go. It's called double zigzag with higher high, lower low. Very important indicator, in my opinion. It doesn't matter whether you use it on a daily, weekly, whatever you want to use it. It doesn't matter actually. I'm going to switch off support resistance because it will show you the same data, but slightly different. So when we're looking at these zigzags, right? Let's do the daily just for now, right? When you're looking at these, what you've got is look at the higher lows and, just look at the lows and the highs. Just think of it this way, right? So when we look at this area, for example, we're looking at this current area here. This is a high. That means this is a resistance for whatever's coming next. Wait with me and I'm going to show you. So let's go to this area here. I'll just show you. So currently, imagine this particular area here is actually a resistance for this particular zone here. So when we hit a bottom, we hit a support, right? So the way we do it, we say, okay, this area here is a support. This is a resistance. So it depends on what time frame you're looking at, obviously, right? So when we identify this, because we are below this, this is now considered a resistance. And we've come here and we bounced off. This is now a support. So when sometimes you might hear us talk about a previous support becoming a resistance, okay, or a previous resistance becoming a support, right? So this zone here can only be a support because it's on the downtrend. It can only be a support. However, if we crash down like we did here, we fall down, right? Or any area here, we fall down. This then becomes our resistance. So on the way up, it's resistance, very simple. On the way down, it's acts as a support. And talking about support, there are other fundamentals as well that we need to look at on support. So for example, let's show you a great area here. So leave the chart this way. So you see this particular area here. So we've got this range here, right? This is actually giving us an indicator that there's a strong resistance forming here. There was a massive traffic here. We talk about traffic. This is actually an area where we could, on the way up, we're going to find it very difficult to cross over. Okay. And the same thing is happening right now where we are. So on the current situation, you can see that we've been creating this particular area here where it's going to be really good for us. If we can hold this, means that we shouldn't go down. And we're building a massive wall or foundation, you want to call it, for us to shoot up. Again, this is what's happening on the daily. So just to be careful. Now on the daily, I want to show you one other thing as well. When you're using support resistance and you're trying to calculate what's going on, keep an eye on your stochastic RSI. What you'll notice is we have peaked out. So what I'm talking about is this blue line here is a leading line. This is an indicator that shows us when the blue line is on top of the red line, we are bullish. When the blue line has hit the peak, it will flip back down. So it starts to lead back down. As soon as it does that, you want to get out. And you can see every time it does that, it becomes bearish. So just to kind of show you, you see how it done it here and it became bearish, undecided, and then it became bearish. And after that, you can see how it crashed and came back down here. As soon as we flip back up, we're bullish again. So this is something that happens on a shorter time frame, just so you understand. I mean, it's a crazy thing, and this is why I wanted to show you this as well. So every time it does the same kind of pattern. So imagine you did this, for example, right? And you're moving up, right? Or even if you come down here and then you do this, for example, what you're noticing is this is a support, this is a resistance. Every angle, so if that makes sense, right? The peak is your resistance and the bottom area of the angle is your support. It's very simple to work out. And then you can use that data to see whether you're currently in a support zone or you've been invalidated, right? So hope this kind of makes sense. I know I'm not the best drawings there, but I hope this kind of makes sense. But you can see how when we talk about where we are now, it's not a great area, it's a bad area, and this, that, whatever. There's reasons behind it, you know? When you're looking at a chart and you're seeing all of these things, and you're seeing there's absolutely nothing. And I even call this video like a no man's area because, I mean, here's a good data. This is on a daily. Look at this. This is so bad. See this higher low here? We're literally here right now. I mean, look at this. This is a secondary data that's saying us this was the higher low and we're currently here. This is where we found support. you know, and you know, if you look carefully, our resistance zone, so we have this massive traffic zone here, massive traffic zone here. Look at this. I can almost use this as well. So look at this. This is where the resistance is, and this is what we're coming to. So we can see we've got a resistance forming around the 25,300 whatever level, but this is in like this territory where there's absolutely nothing there. See what I mean? Absolutely nothing there. So this one thing has to hold. Funny thing is if we can beat it, if we can break above, then this should be fairly easy to do, you know. So let's see what happens anyway. Right, let's not talk anymore. So I'm really tired. My question was, because they seem to almost be the same thing, but there's got to be some difference charting. Yes, supply, demand, almost the same thing. You see, when we're talking about supply demand, okay, this is, I think I got your question now as well. So this is really funny. Okay, one other way to see supply and demand is actually using your RSI, not the stochastic, RSI, right? When we're up here, right, we can use the demand. We can use the demand, like, okay, people are really chaotic now. They want to buy more. People are really hyping it. We can use that as an indicator to say market is now overbought or oversold. Very similar to the fear and greed indicator. So technically the demand would be the greed and the fear would be the supply, for example. So you've got a vast amount of supply when people are flooding the market because people are selling or getting their stocks. Fear. So we can say fear is supply, and we can say greed is your demand, if that makes sense, right? The other way around, for example, when we hit the bottom here, we know that now the supply is too much in the market. So then we create demand and we push the demand up until we get here, and then we create supply again. So supply is liquid, right? We liquidate our funds, assets or whatever, and we make it available again. That's supply. But yeah, I mean, we can use it in many different ways. I'm sure many people would use it in many ways, but the support and resistance, that's a different story. That's a technical pattern. That's a technical pattern. What goes up, right? Say, for example, we're moving up, then we're going to hit a resistance. If we had a previous data around that line, we're going to hit that as a resistance. And then, you know, we're going to probably, if we come back down again, then we're going to come and find support somewhere, and that support would usually be a previous resistance area. So where we faced resistance previously, for example, let me do it here, right? That would become our resistance, and then we break above, that becomes our support. So if that makes sense, that's how it works. But as I said, remember, no indicator on this planet is an absolute indicator to tell you exactly what's going to happen tomorrow. There is no such thing. If it was, everyone would be a genius, right? That indicator doesn't exist. It's all based on probabilities. You know, there are indicators to tell us what's happened yesterday, what's happened in the past, what's happening right now. We can see that, right? We can see what happened in the last 1 hour. When we start going down to the lesser time frames, we have to make that judgment and say, what's the next move? You know, what's the next move? So, hope this kind of helps. Probably not what you're looking for, but I hope this kind of makes sense, right? You know, supply, demand, support, resistance, basic technical patterns. And this is one of the reasons why we sometimes go left. Because going left is very important. Going left is very important. You know, going left tells me that this area here is my next support. So let's see what happens. Same thing, but there's got to be some difference between charting. Yeah, so I read that already. Charting is a very funny thing, I'll be honest with you, right? Charting is a very funny thing. You'll probably notice like how sometimes when I want to show you a fact, I will change things around a little bit, and I want to give you a very good indicator of this. Hold on, I want to get rid of this. Let me get rid of this. Right, let's bring the drawings back. So this is going to be really fun, right? So when people chart, different people may show you a different technique of charting, and it's okay. It's unique to them, or it's their own little thing. Absolutely fine. So if you can see the colors properly, then I'm going to show you, I'm going to adjust this just to make it accurate. So this is the top, this is that bottom here, Perfect, right? Okay, perfect. So let's just get rid of this, and I'm also going to get rid of this one here. So we are just working with this top and this bottom here. That's all we're working with, nothing else, right? And I want to show you something very funny. So when you start changing the candles, right? If I start changing these to, for example, Hikinashi, I see something different. So you can see Hikinashi is showing me something completely different. When I start changing it to, for example, Renko, I get something even more different. And you'll see there are guys out there who will show you these things, right? And we can go to the rest, but I don't want to. Let's just do Kaji and then change it, right? So this is what you get, right? They have their purpose, by the way. They have their purpose. But in crypto, the most basic is bars, okay? Most basic is bars and candles, remember, right? Bars and candles. Now, I prefer candles, bars. Bars are, as you can see, for me, aesthetically fantastic, right? But it's not for everyone's taste. This gives us a little bit more fuller body. On the videos, it looks very good. However, when I want to look for facts, this is how I look for facts with the lines. And you can see how the lines are not touching this. Why? Because the line is probably the most accurate out of all of them, because it gives me that data on the spot. There are others, like, for example, the Kaji does it as well, but it's harder to read. This is unbiased. There's no colors here. There's no green. There's no red. It's just saying, look, your high was here. So they're saying, Sham, you were wrong. Your high was here. That's your resistance line. It literally is screaming at me and telling me, look, this is your resistance line. Okay? So stop messing around and say this is your resistance line. Or that the current resistance area would be this area here. It's not the other area that you said because you think it was this. It's not. This is where we are. And I love that. It shows you at a glance exactly where things are. And it's a lot more accurate, in my opinion, because, as I said, it's not biased. It doesn't care about what the market does. It's just showing you whatever color you pick as your line, just showing you that and saying, look, these are the probabilities. So based on that, based on this, when I start looking, you can see how things go really crazy and how I have this 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I got sore throat, guys. And technically, even a 4, 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 areas of confirmation to say that this is a brilliant support zone. So yes, that's what I'm looking at. When I look at this area, which we did break past and we did wick down, by the way, it shows me 1, 2 touch points. That's it. So I've got 1 touch point here, 1 touch point here. And here you can see we're very close to it, which means we probably will come and test it at least once more. So let's see what happens. Oh my days, my sore throat. Guys, I think I talked too much today. So I'm going to love you and leave you. My throat is killing me. I think we should have a lovely little one of those, just get together and just talk some days, because I think these are brilliant, because I don't have to be here and tell you do this, do that, and this and that. Or guys, here's $1 million trade I'm doing today. I'm going to go long, and then expect all of you to go long as well, and hopefully push the market up my direction. That's what happens usually, but we're not here for that. No FUD, no shield, no nothing. We just see the market for what it is and say it as it is, nothing more. And just maybe a little bit of our opinion, obviously no financial advice. So guys, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe, like, share, subscribe, share with one another, hit that like button. Join our Discord. That's the only way you can actually talk to me. You can actually speak to me. And as I said, next 2 to 3 weeks, I will not be around. I will not have any technology with me. So you won't be able to get hold of me. However, if I do happen to log into something in some random place with some internet or connection to the outer world, then I will respond to your messages and whatnot. So don't be afraid, message me, whatnot. If I'm around, I will. Most probably I'll have some sort of technology. Even if I don't have my own devices with me, I'll go and pick up something else. Don't worry about that. So I'll always have some technology. I'm always going to be around. But yeah, as I said, 2-3 weeks. Other than that, guys, like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on another one very soon. Wow, that's crazy. I literally didn't stop talking. I went outside, huffing and puffing, came home, and I'm still talking, and my throat is hurting. Oh man. Will you have any trades in while you are gone? No, so that I will not be doing any leverage trades. I do have buy orders. So I've already got my original buy orders, which will activate one by one. And just to show you my original buy orders, so I had one buy order here, and just to show you. So these four lines you see here, obviously we did some drawings, that's different. These four lines here are my original buy orders. So you can see how my first buy order was, actually let me move it onto weekly, it's easier. So you can see how my first buy order was activated, and this buy order I set up last year. I did a trade and I lost a huge amount of money. Most of the community members know about this, and I said, okay guys, things don't look right, something's not right, I'm not bothered, I'm going to put a buy order to buy physically at this rate. Theoretically this would recover my losses as well, so even though I lost a significant amount, but I recover my BTC. So I did that. Sorry guys, I did that. This is my second buy order. These are secondary, so these are orders that I set up later. So the white lines I set up already. This one I set up like a year ago, and this one is the first time I saw the signal showing me a 16K. I set it up like 6 months ago, or maybe 3 months ago, I don't know. But I set this up later. And then recently, a couple of months ago, I set up these buy orders for these areas. I said, guys, now I'm seeing this data, because if we do this, then we're going to do this. And then also other variables entered the market. For example, Luna was a variable that entered the market. No one was expecting Luna to crash. So other variables came in. When I factor those in, I'm like, okay, the first support zone that we should have had, historically, we've never gone back to the previous all-time high. We will. So that was happening. That was going to be my support happening. So then I said, okay, market can push down a little bit more, and I think that would bring us down to this 13 level. Of course, other people have shouted about 10K, 3K, 6K, 2K, even someone said 1K. By all means, it could easily go to that, but the probability is a lot less. I actually sent something on Discord. I said 99% chance going to 19K, 75% chance going to this, 35, and so on and so forth, right? And I gave a 1% chance that we're going to go to $1,000 or something like this. I can't remember, but 1% chance, because the probability says there's a lower chance for us to go down as low, but it's higher that we will find support in these particular zones, right? And we're going to push up again. So let's see. So I see DB here. Awesome. What are you doing, my brother? Nice to see you. What are you laughing at that? But no, yeah, as I said, just spot buys, because right now I don't want to do a trade. So Kurtzy, let's just explain this to you, why I don't want to do a trade. So unlike people who do trades, who long the market or short the market, one thing I do not do on any market, well, saying that maybe Forex I will, but I don't short the market. It's a moral obligation. I will not short a market. If I like something and I believe in something, I don't want to short it. I don't do that. However, I do long the market, but I only long the market maybe once or twice a year. That's it. I don't do stupid trades every other day. I don't go revenge trading, nothing like this. If I lost money, I lost money. I'll wait for the market to come to my level. When I'm confident, I'll go in. Remember, when I press that button, I've lost that money. So my assumption is already done. That's why I stay calm even if I lost money. But I want to make sure my strategies are always right. And of course, I'm human. I make mistakes. When I do, I lose money. So that's why I'm not doing a trade yet. I will open a trade though. But the idea was, when I sold here at $58,000, the money, for example, the money that I accumulated here, because remember, all the alts were pumping. So the money I accumulated around here is what I'm using to buy around here. So even if I bought, say, for example, I sold 1 BTC there, currently that same money buys me 3 here. And I've been waiting a year for this, by the way. And also, if you go back to any of my videos, you can see for the past 6, 7, 8 months, right? Or maybe 10 months, actually, I've been selling all my alts and coming into fiat. Why? Because I'm waiting for this great opportunity. And now I can buy all of those coins, more of those coins than I had before. And now I can use those coins itself as a leverage to do the trades and make even more if I want it. So let's see how that works out. But not now, bro. It's not the wisest thing to do. I'm completely against it right now. And I advise, not a financial advice, but I do advise everyone, stay careful. Don't try to long this market. Don't try to short this market, right? Don't play with the market right now. Right now, where we are in a very undecided situation. We don't know whether we're going to go down, whether we're going to go up. Yes, it sounds lucrative. Some of your friends are probably saying, oh, look, I made some money, I did this. But he's not going to tell you when he's lost money. That's a fact of life. Right. My throat is really killing me. So I am going to leave you guys. Thank you very much. Okay. I love you and leave you. I hope to see you on another one very soon. As I said, it'll probably be 2-3 weeks. So yeah, just bear with me. As soon as I am back, I will notify everybody on Discord, and I'll send out shouts out and this and that. And stay safe until then. Don't lose any money. Remember, the best thing to do in a downtrend or anything like this, DCA, and don't DCA everything. Like, keep your lowest amount. If you feel the market's going to go down even further, then have your largest quantity on the bottom, for the bottom, wherever you hypothetically think is where we're going to, that's where your largest sum of money should be. So your losses are less, right? And the less amount of money should be on the top. So thank you very much, my brother. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's always live, my brother. It's always live. I do sometimes do these little driveway thingy when I'm driving or something, but those are just random ones. I just talk whatever nonsense that comes out of my mouth while I'm driving. It's better than listening to a radio, if that makes sense. At least I can give some information. So yeah, I'm gonna catch you on another one very soon. Adios, my amigos. Take care.